Hello everybody, it is Hitter Chicks Cosplay here, and today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different than my other videos. Today I really want to talk about the topic of getting started in cosplay. I've had a couple people message me, both on YouTube and on my Instagram, which you can find down below, about how I got started into cosplay and how I kind of worked up the nerve to do it and how I physically started making cosplay. So today I really wanted to talk about the two aspects in terms of starting cosplay for me, which is the physical and the mental side of beginning cosplay. Now I really wanted to start out by talking about how I personally got started in cosplay because it's different for everybody, and I think personal experiences, seeing somebody who kind of went through the same thing as you, can help you along. Personally for me, I started getting into cosplay around my middle school years. Middle school was rough. I was going through a lot of gross phases, such as I lacked desire to shower for some reason. Aside from me being a gross preteen, as most preteens are, I was going through this phase where I really didn't have any interests. I didn't have anything that really made me excited about anything, really. So one day my friend introduced me to this show called Ouran High School Host Club, and Ouran became my favorite show and introduced me to the world of anime. And Ouran is still my favorite show of all time. I have the entire manga series. I've watched it all. I have it on DVD. I'm working on getting this signed by all the cast members. Like, I am in love with that show because it opened me up to this world of anime, into video games, into just pop culture. And like most kids do, when they find one thing, it kind of spirals into another. And from starting my love of anime, I fell into this hole where I found cosplay. And I saw these people like building these things and creating these characters and bringing them to life, and it made me so excited. And I really wanted to do that. So I asked my mom if she could take me to an anime convention, and she said yes and said I could bring 2 friends. So I brought my friends, and our plan was to cosplay 3 characters from the anime Madoka Magica. And I was gonna be Sayaka, and my other friends were gonna be Madoka and Kyoko. And we were planning on going, and I was so excited, and I ordered my costume, and it never came. It didn't come in time for the con, so I just went to my first con without a cosplay, which was fine. I think it was a perfectly fine first con experience. The next year I was like, okay, instead of buying one, I'm going to make it myself so that way I know it's done in time. And I ended up making a Link from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess cosplay with the help of some of my other friends, and we got it done in time for the con. I went, I wore it, I loved it, it was so comfortable, it was an amazing experience. I didn't have the most hand in the cosplay. One of my other friends, it was kept at his house, so he worked on it more than I did, so I give him props. It was so fun. I want to do more of this. But at the time, I wasn't able to because of money. So I would convince my mom every birthday or every Christmas to buy me a cosplay. So I bought my costumes for a while, like Blair and Sasuke. I was kind of able to get introduced to the cosplay world through purchasing cosplays. And I only actually recently started building my own cosplays. About 2 years, maybe, give or take, that I've been building my cosplays. The first full build I did with my companion cube from Portal, and I do not like that costume anymore. It was so uncomfortable. It was my first time working with foam, and I was just kind of taking shortcuts, and I'm really unhappy with the way the majority of it turned out. But going with my friends was a lot of fun, and I had fun while I was in the costume, but I would not wear it again. So with my first-hand experience of getting started into cosplay down, I want to give you guys some tips on the mental and the physical aspects that I learned and that I wish someone had told me, and granted that I wish I had listened to. So many people told me a lot of these things, but I was like, it's fine, I'll do my own thing, it'll work out. But I really wish I had listened. Well, I want to start in the mental side of getting started in cosplay because I feel like that is the most important. Getting into the right mindset and the right reasoning of why you're cosplaying something is more important than physically creating something, well, I think personally. Number 1, pick something that you love. I can't stress enough how important it is to pick a character or a creature or whatever it is that you want to cosplay that you love and care a lot about. Some people will pick cosplays or characters that look really cool, and that's perfectly fine, but I think getting started in cosplay, picking a character that you love is gonna help you keep the drive to continue working on the character and working on the costume. If you pick a character from, say, Legend of Zelda that you don't particularly like, if Link is your favorite character but you like the way Zelda looks so you decide to make Zelda, you're not going to be as excited about finishing the project as you would be creating a character and bringing a character you love to life, especially as your first or possibly second, third, the beginning of your cosplay journey. Number 2, I think it's really important to find encouraging people, whether that be your friends, your family, or people online who you can talk to and share kind of your excitement and your plans with. I'm fortunate enough to have a mom who is really excited about my cosplays, as well as friends who are, and some friends online who are, so it's really important to surround yourself with these positive voices telling you that what you're doing is valid and that what you're creating is really cool and that they want to see you continuing doing it, which I think is really, really important in those beginning stages when you're kind of learning. Seeing people tell you that what you're doing is good is really, really important. Number 3, one of the most important tips I'm gonna give today, and one that I still struggle with, is do not compare your work to professionals. Comparing your work as a beginner to someone who has been doing cosplay for 20 plus years is not healthy. I can't stress it enough. I have a really bad habit of comparing what I create to other creations of the exact same. I'm working on a Dead by Daylight cosplay, and I still find myself comparing what I'm creating to somebody else who's done it and ranking them and saying, oh, theirs is better because of this, or theirs is better because of that. It's not healthy in terms of creating something you love and just for a general mental state, because if you're like me, you'll let it beat you down. And it's so important to be able to take advice and to take compliments on your work without saying, oh, but this could have been better. If you watch some of my other videos, you'll see me saying, well, there are some things I'd like to change. And yes, there are always things you're gonna wanna change, but focus on the good parts and the fact that you created it. You did it. And you should be proud of yourself, regardless of whether it looks like a 20-year seasoned professional or a complete beginner. Number 4, remind yourself why you started cosplaying this character or started cosplaying in the beginning. I think it's super important to take a step back sometimes and ask yourself why you chose this character. Why do you love this show? Why do you love this character? And kind of reevaluate yourself a little bit in terms of why you chose what you chose. I know sometimes you can hit a wall while you're cosplaying or working on a costume and you really lose that drive. I think it's really important to sometimes look back at the show or the movie or whatever it is you're cosplaying from and reevaluate why you loved it in the first place. I know when I was making my Loki helmet, Endgame had just come out, so I had that motivation right away. I was like, I love Loki, seeing him for 15 seconds in that movie was fantastic, and I really wanted to make it because I ultimately just loved him. And number 5 on the mental list is to don't forget to let yourself breathe. Take a break. Give yourself some time away from the costume if you're stressed or frustrated. I have a hard time doing that. I think it's really, really important to not pressure yourself so much, especially in the beginning, because it's going to take away the fun of cosplaying. If you're so worried about getting it done for a con or getting it done for a photo shoot, you're not going to enjoy making it, and it takes away half the fun of cosplaying in the first place. Onto the physical aspect of starting cosplay, this is a little bit different in terms of tips I can give. Because I know when I was starting out, I was having a hard time, but I didn't get any advice in terms of physically beginning. Number 1, set yourself an achievable goal. Do not try and create something so larger than life. Don't try and create yourself a movable pair of wings and a full suit of armor for your first build. If you really, really want to and you have the resources and the people to help you, you know what? Go for it. But most beginner cosplayers don't have many resources to work from. I know personally I worked out of this bedroom, I still work out of my bedroom, and I don't have a lot of money or space to create big massive pieces. And beginning cosplay, it's really important to make sure that you set yourself goals you can achieve so that way it doesn't discourage you. Set small little checkpoints. So, okay, today I'm going to finish this part of my costume. Today I'm gonna make this prop. Today I'm gonna paint this. It's just taking it baby steps at a time is really important in terms of being able to successfully get it done without procrastinating too much and without stressing yourself out too much. Number 2, this is a tip that I'm giving that might not necessarily work for everybody, but this is what I did. Start with simple, cheap, thrifted materials while you're still learning, instead of buying $200 worth of tools and foam and Warbler and all these really expensive materials. Start with cheap foam mats from Lowe's, or some upholstery foam that you find, or just some thermoplastic that you can find for cheaper somewhere else. Like, try and work with materials that you can afford instead of blowing your whole budget on materials that you don't know how to use yet. Number 3, one that I still really struggle with, is don't be afraid to restart something. If you create something and you absolutely despise the way it turned out, you think that it's not good enough, if it's cracking or the seam isn't good or whatever it is, if you're unhappy with it, restart it. I know I have a hard time with this because I don't like to waste my material. I don't like to have to go buy more or to waste a bunch of foam or glue or whatever it is. So I tend to not restart, and I always wish I did, because whenever I'm out showcasing my cosplay, it's hard for me to be proud of it if I'm trying to hide this like one detail that I just don't like. A million people can compliment it, but if I don't like it myself, then I don't care. I'm focused on the fact that that part's bad and I don't want anybody to look at it. You can avoid that by remaking it. I'm telling myself this too. Number 4, purchasing your cosplays is okay. There is a huge stigma against buying your cosplays for some reason, and I don't know why. Getting started in cosplay, I think buying your first costume is incredibly smart because you get to put it on, go to a convention, wear it out, do whatever you like in it, and you didn't have to break a sweat. You get introduced to the world of cosplay without dealing with the stress of it yet. Wearing purchased cosplays is okay. And number 5, please take advice from people. Take advice from friends, family when you need to take a break. Take advice from people on the internet in terms of tips you can use to get better at creating this one piece. Or just watch YouTube videos, even if it doesn't apply to you. I am obsessed with Kamui Cosplay and Zombies Workshop, and I have not made anything that they create, but I enjoy watching them, and you can learn so much from watching those. In the beginning, after I made my companion cube, I was watching those videos and realizing, oh, I probably should have primed my foam, or I probably should have sealed my foam, or I probably should have used more than one layer of paint, or hey, weathering makes it look good. So learning all these things, not only about painting like I just mentioned, but in terms of actually crafting it, and sewing as well. I'm focusing a lot on foam, but sewing too. I'm just not good at sewing, so I'm not giving advice on sewing. Take advice from people who know about the art. Don't be afraid to take advice from people who just might know more than you do. Anyway guys, I know this video was a little bit different than normal, and I think that's okay to have a little bit of variety, but we will get back to our regularly scheduled programming here shortly. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and also leave me a question, a comment, or a concern you may have. I really hope that you guys learned a little bit of something from this, and I'm begging you to please take some of this advice because I didn't and I wish I did. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to go outside, stay hydrated, and keep on cosplaying. Bye everybody.